listen to this show because your big next is waiting. And trust me, it is greater and better and more meaningful than you could have ever imagined. If you're tired of playing defense, if you refuse to settle for a business that only gives you success but not meaning, then you're in the right place. Your big next is calling you. Are you ready to claim it? Subscribe now to your big next and let's step into the work and ultimately the holistic, wonderful, full life that you're actually meant for. It's official. Your big next is here. We have evolved the Luminary Leadership Podcast into its next level. It's big next, your big next. This show is really dedicated to you. There's so much happening in your life, in your business, and you are done feeling like the bottleneck. You are over feeling like you're playing small or you're playing defense. You're done settling for a business that only gives you success but not true meaning. And it's time for an evolution. And this show was birthed from my own experiences in that and the power of what it looks like when you actually just strip away all the extra and get laser focused in on what you are called to do. Pulling from the ashes of your busy work that comes with being an entrepreneur, your true life's work, and stepping so boldly into that, knowing that you are aligned with the calling that's been placed on your heart that is going to be an incredibly big challenge. But when you think about it, when you pray about it, it is light on your heart and your soul. You know it is for you. It might be completely out of your reach based on the resources, the reality that you live today. Right? Like you might look at your calendar or your current team or your current finances or your obligations or your family or whatever and say, there's no freaking way I can step into what's been nagging at me and nudging me for years now. Yet you can, because there's an expansion of your capacity that comes with saying yes to what's truly calling you. An expansion of you that only becomes available in the pursuit of the very thing that you're being guided towards. There's so much power in that. So often we want the safety net and the reassurance that, okay, I'm going to plan it out. I'm going to map it out. I'm going to strategize it. I'm going to cast the vision and I'm going to roadmap it. And once I feel like I have those ducks in a row, then I can do the thing. Then I can write the book. Then I can expand the company. Then I can sell the company. Then I can shut it all down and be home with my kids, like whatever your big next is. But that's not how it works. The same way there's something about pregnancy that readies you for motherhood, right? Like that evolutionary period and your hormones changing and all these things that like, it just expands your capacity. I give the example all the time. When we had our first child, and then I found out I was pregnant with my second child, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to love this second child as much as I love my first child? Or am I going to have to take some of the love because I'm exhausted, I'm maxed out, I have no time. Like, how am I going to somehow give more or find more to give? Yet in just saying yes, right? Like in just stepping into that, there is a capacity expansion that is not available to you by reading the books and studying and taking the courses. It's in the pursuit. So that is what this show is about. It is about realizing, yep, I've built the business. I've chased the dream. But now what, right? I'm sick of maintaining. I'm not here to just maintain. I know there's something greater for me, but I'm hesitating, whether it's fear of failure or I am maxed out and I can't see the way forward. I don't yet have the resources. Knowing that the success that you've built, it looks great on paper, but at what cost? Right? How is your family right now? How is your marriage right now? How is your level of joy right now? How much of your time are you spending in your weeks in your sweet spot versus drowning in the weeds and the tasks of the day-to-day to maintain what is? Were you really born to maintain? Or are you a creator? Are you an innovator? Do you come alive in the work that makes you come alive? This isn't burnout that you're feeling. This isn't a midlife crisis. This isn't just overwhelm. It's the moment that every high-level entrepreneur faces, the realization that more and maintaining is not the answer. We are breaking free from the grind. We are stepping into the glide that comes with saying yes to what we're being called to next. And there's an exponential level of growth, freedom, and impact that comes with that, right? If you feel like you've been busting your butt just to incrementally continue to grow, and you wonder how sometimes you see these people who just are on a different trajectory. They're on a different wavelength. They have stepped into something so much greater. And you want to know, like, how much harder are they working? Where are they finding the hours? Do they have more team than me? Do they have more money and backing than me? Nope, it's not that. They've just said yes to their calling. They're just doing the work that makes them come alive. It's not about time management. It's about energy management. It's about leveraging what you have, doing what you're called to do. It's a different way of existing. So that is what your big next is all about. That is what we are here to do. It is possible to have a business that fuels every category of your life, that you learn how to use your business as the vehicle to enhance all the different areas that make up you, right? If you build this incredibly successful business at the expense of your quality of life or your relationships or what you were really meant to do in the first place, your gifts, was it even worth it? I can assure you, probably not. That is a sacrifice you don't want to make. There are plenty of sacrifices we make as entrepreneurs. That's not one of them. And I know too that getting there isn't easy because we do feel overwhelmed. We do feel stuck in the weeds. There are realities to the fact that we are the bottleneck to our business, right? We haven't become the leaders we need to be to go where we feel called to go. So we feel inadequate. We feel unequipped, right? We feel this level of imposter syndrome. No matter how much evidence of the successes we've had, it doesn't matter. And we feel this frustration because we know we're living in friction with what we're meant to do. And there's something remarkable calling us, but it feels like our business is running us instead of the other way around. Or deep down, we're scared of failing again, or scared of letting go, or scared of what happens if I actually allow myself to think beyond what I'm doing right now. So the key components of this is it's bigger than you. It's something that only God could place on your heart. Like, it is such a divinely orchestrated thing. It's not just a want. It's not just like, oh, I feel like doing this. No. That's not what I'm talking about. Wants are like feelings. They come and go. This is something so much deeper than that. It is allowing you to step fully into the work that makes you come alive, which is what we call being in your sweet spot, which is a very tactical move and a profitable move as an entrepreneur. It is a team sport. It is not something you're going to achieve on your back alone, alongside God, your team, and others. It's beyond what you thought or even maybe think is possible, but it's exactly what you're meant to step into next. And it's where you experience the exponential. And it's different for everybody. I will give examples as we go. You will hear stories from people who have successfully stepped into their big next and what it's done for their lives. You will hear stories of people who didn't and the cost that they paid for that. You will hear about people whose big next was their next multi-million-dollar deal, and some that it was shutting it all down to be home with their babies and everything in between, right? It is so unique to you, but it is a stripping away of what's no longer yours, what's no longer aligned, what's no longer meant for you to carry. It is a line in the sand, a moment where you choose to no longer play it safe or play small. It's where you get to unlock that possibility. And for me, this stemmed from a moment in my life when I realized that I didn't know if I'd have a tomorrow. I had a near-death experience that landed me in a life-saving surgery. And upon coming to after the surgery, once I was back with it again, I realized I had been living out of congruence with my calling, right? I had allowed so much into my life and into my calendar and into my day-to-day that was robbing me of what God was really calling me to. And it was like this moment of clarity of like, oh, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not spending another moment doing anything that's not what God's calling me to do, what's not aligned, what's not, teeing up my gifts to be leveraged well. I'm getting out of the trap of achievement for achievement's sake. I'm not scaling my business anymore. I am scaling me, and I'm allowing it to be the reason that my business scales exponentially because of the overflow, the true overflow of me as a leader into my business versus I'm going to grind over here in my business and hope it works out as I feel small. The world is going to constantly scream at you more success, more goals, more revenue. My argument is when you flip it and you identify what you're being called to and your innate giftings to get there, and you pour into yourself and you become the visionary leader, the visionary CEO you're called to be, the aligned greater takes place naturally versus trying to manufacture it every day and draining yourself in the process. It's a narrow path. It's not more. It's one of less. It's not about adding. It's about subtracting. It's about stepping into the right work. And there's an uncomfortable realization of I built something incredible and it's a cage. The entrepreneur's fear of slowing down for long enough to get clarity, to make new choices is very, very real. We feel that pressure because we have to maintain, we have to keep things going, we have to keep things afloat, we have to keep up. But then we stay in misalignment and wonder why it never feels quite right, and wonder why we never really hit the goals that seem to satiate. Success alone is not what creates freedom, because there are different versions of freedom. There's time freedom, sure, that's what we think of all the time, but there's also creative freedom, right? And the freedom of knowing that you're doing what you're here to do. Like, there's so many different versions of freedom that you might not be paying attention to, and you might be creating some kind of time freedom or financial freedom and wondering why it's just not landing for you. So let's talk a little bit about what your big next is. This podcast has been a long time in the making. It's not about another goal. It is a God-ordained calling that reclaims from the ashes of your busy work, your life's work. It's the moment where you stop running on autopilot, you wake the F up and start stepping fully into the work you were made for. It's about stripping away, not adding on. Less, but better. Clarity over chaos. It's about breaking out of maintenance mode, because I assure you, you were not made to maintain. There's a reason you feel completely drained. It's because you're not doing what you're meant to be doing. So shifting from sustaining success to natural exponential growth possibility. It's about stepping into that divine, for lack of other words, even though this word is way overused, alignment, where your work feels right. It's hard, it's challenging, but it is right? You're pushing for the right things, and it's worth the effort. And it's a whole life pursuit. It's not just your business. We're not just having business conversations. This is faith. This is family. This is purpose, all integrated, because you are the common denominator. We cannot compartmentalize you the same way. If someone is having issues in their gut, right? Like they're having stomach pain. We have to look at the whole person, like what's going in their mouth that could be causing the stomach pain. We're not just going to alleviate the symptoms. We got to look at the whole picture, how everything connects to ensure that you're on the path that you're meant to be on. And sometimes it's a bit of innovation or reinvention, right? You can't step into your big next as the same person you are today. It doesn't work that way. Now, maybe the first step is as you are today, but not really, because just having the courage to step into it, you're already a little different than yesterday. And then with that comes a continual evolution. It's an acceptance that I'm not yet that person and I can't wait to meet them. Here we go, right? And it's not just about more revenue or a bigger goal. Those might be part of it. They might more likely be a byproduct of it, even better. But it's not about just setting your sights on 10x for the sake of 10x, right? Like exponential for the sake of exponential just in my business. It's looking at things very holistically. And the reason most entrepreneurs don't step into it is new level, new devil. They don't want to be green again. They don't want to look small. They don't want to reinvent and have the risk. I just completed writing a book. I had never written a book. Prior to writing a book, my career was at a very high peak. I'm like, do I really want to do something I've never done before that I'll probably suck at? That's why we have good editors. But it was like, yeah, it's time. I'm being called into this. There's something coming from this. And then there's also this fear of letting go of what's working. And that's where faith comes into the equation. That's why it's such a linchpin. So no matter what you believe religiously, that's not the conversation. It's you are being guided, whether you believe it or not. And there is more to the story than just you. You might think you're in the driver's seat. You're a co-pilot at best. And how do you leverage that? How do you take that pressure off yourself to know that everything's going to be all right? You're doing what you're called to do. You're doing the right things. It's going to be all right. It's how it's meant to be. And I had to walk through almost losing the opportunity to do that at any point in my life, thinking I was kissing my husband goodbye for the last time and realizing that I was blessed with this second chance, that it was time to step into my big next. Sometimes you have to let go of the proven path to unlock something far more uncertain, but exponentially better. Why being in congruence with that calling and your values is the ultimate business strategy. Having faith is a business strategy. Stepping into your big next accelerates that success more than pushing harder ever will. And it requires a deep level of courage. But the cost of staying stuck is a higher risk than the risk of stepping forward. I think what entrepreneurs specifically get wrong about pivoting is it's not about losing or giving up. It's about stepping into something greater, right? There's this illusion of safety that comes with what we know, what we're comfortable with, what's already working. But when we are willing to let go of that, just in the letting go, just in the pursuit of what we're being called to, that's where that possibility lies and where the peace lies. You can be doing something really, really hard and still have a deep sense of peace around it. That's another key piece of this. It's going to transcend your understanding. You will look at what's required of you to step into your big next, and you will start to see that in pursuing it, you radically change in the best ways. And even though it is a great challenge, there's really no your big next that's not a great challenge. It will come with a sense of peace and just knowing that overrides that challenge and makes it something that you're really drawn towards. Versus, you ever feel like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed? There have been seasons in my life where I've felt so overwhelmed and I've had the least amount of obligations or stuff on my calendar. I think back to like before I had kids, when I was running my business, no one dictating my schedule. I didn't have that many clients. And I'm like, I'm so overwhelmed. And now I look at my life. I have 4 kids. We homeschool. I run a business. I'm, like in a big business partnership in addition to my business. And when I'm doing what I'm called to do, when I'm doing what is right in my sweet spot, my calendar can be packed solid. Like my days can start at, 5 a.m. and end at 11:30. And I don't feel overwhelmed. It's the right stuff. Like it's fueling my energy. So it's about shifting from the stuff that might be draining you into the stuff that energizes you. And then you have space and capacity to step into something greater. So how do you know if it's time? Like, how do you know if you're in a season of that? Here are some signs you're in maintenance mode. You're making money, moving you. Either it's not moving you emotionally, spiritually, mentally, like it's not moving to you, or it's not moving you, like it's not transforming anything. You feel like you're supposed to be grateful, but like something just feels off. Or you keep thinking about what's next, but you don't know what that is. You lack clarity. You are tired. You feel drained. You feel overwhelmed, not just physically, but just like emotionally. You keep setting bigger goals. They don't actually fulfill you, but you keep setting them. You keep casting the vision, creating the vision board, but like, why isn't this landing? So here's some signs that it's time. You know there's something greater calling you. You just need the clarity. You're willing to let go of what's working and take the very worthy risk of stepping into something beyond this current moment, beyond your current safety. You feel called to something beyond yourself. You crave this deep alignment in your work where things feel right and you come alive. You're ready to shift from success to significance and that greater impact. And most entrepreneurs ignore these signs because they're comfortable, because it's safe, because someday. The biggest barrier to stepping into your big next is releasing that control, allowing for some uncertainty, embracing the game. So how do we make that shift? What are we going to be talking about on this show going forward that's actually going to be implementable in your life? Well, the first is getting radically honest about where you are. Am I in maintenance mode, or am I in total alignment and loving what I do and coming alive in my work and truly pushing myself to my limits? Here's your gut check question. If I were to do this like this for another 10 years, how does that land with me? Would I feel fulfilled? Would I be satisfied of what the last decade brought? Would I be where I want to be? Would it be fulfilling other areas of my life as a parent, as a spouse, in my family, right? The second step is really paying attention to identifying the work that makes you come alive. We have some tools that help with this. If you go to luminaryleadershipco.com/clarity, we have some journaling prompts to really draw this out for high achievers and entrepreneurs, or you can just DM me on Instagram the word clarity and I'll send it to you. But it's really identifying that work that makes you come alive. Right? What is the work that you could get lost in all day that you do for free, where you feel fully in your sweet spot? The third step is stripping away what no longer serves you. We talk a lot about this idea of creating intentional pruning seasons. We do this in our mastermind and we do it in our team too, where it's like, all right, what needs to go? What are you still hitched to that's slowing you down in pursuit of your big next? Whether you're comfortable there, whether you're just unconsciously doing it, it's a habit. There's a huge myth of like more success equals more freedom. It doesn't. So if that's not true, oftentimes freedom is going to come from more simplicity and streamlining and focus. And that's going to require you to let go of some of the things that are no longer going on this journey with you. So ask yourself, what am I holding on to that's keeping me from stepping forward? Could be a habit, could be a person, could be a team member, could be a piece of work that you're continuing to do, a client, could be many things, a mindset. And then the fourth piece is committing to the leap. Newsflash, your big next will require risk. Like there's no version of the story where you get to do the amazing things that you're called to do without risk, without challenge. It's going to require faith. It's bigger than you. That's the good news. You're not the sole pilot. And a lot of that's going to come from eliminating distractions. That's better than adding new strategies, embracing discomfort of stepping into something new. And what happens, what truly happens when you don't strategically map out your big next, you spiritually say yes to it. You say yes to what you're really called to. Watch what happens. So my goal is paradigm shifts, episodes that are going to challenge you to think differently, conversations that you have never heard anywhere else, right? The raw, unfiltered stuff from the leaders who have made the leap and what it actually looks like in the messy middle and what you can do. We're going to dive into strategy. Yeah, I geek out on that. Innovation and reinvention and faith, family, all the pieces that make up us as the visionary leaders who will step into our big next. If you've been feeling that tension, if you know there's something greater calling you, this is where you find the path forward. Your big next is already waiting for you. Will you claim it? Subscribe now and do me a favor. Go share this with 5 people who you know are ready to step into their big next. Because this is a team sport. This is a movement. We do this together. We do this in community and in collaboration and in relationships. So let's step into the work and ultimately the life that we're meant for. I am so excited to bring this show to you. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next week.